Hi, my name is Erica. I am an addict. My clean date is June 5th of 2018, which means I've been clean for about 14 months now, a little bit over a year. June 4th of 2018, because I chose to give just one more, I ended up on life support. I died for 23 minutes, and thank God for a nurse that didn't know who I was at a detox facility that I've gone to several times, decided to just give me one more Narcan, which saved my life. And I will forever be grateful for that. So, just to start, I guess I'll go with my, where I came from. And to say my family was dysfunctional is, that's kind of putting it nice as far as I'm concerned. I was born up in Cleveland, outside of Cleveland, to a very young mother. She was 16. She didn't want me. She made that very clear. So my grandparents had me until I was 3, when my mother got married to a monster and then decided she'd play mom. So from the time I was 3 until I was 16, I was raped and beaten and traumatized in ways that you see on the news. And still, I'm not as affected by it as I think I should be after years of counseling, but I think that's possibly because I've had to forgive and move on, because if I don't, it's going to keep me sick and I'm going to die. But, so for 13 years, I lived basically in fear. I was finally at 16, removed from the home by Children's Services, but at that point I was of age, I had a job, I was able to take care of myself, so I did that and moved out on my own, and that would be when I had my first taste of alcohol. I met my high school sweetheart, who I then married, because it was really important to me after being raped for 13 years that I marry the first man that I chose to give myself to. So I did, and that was important to me. But what wasn't important to me is that he beat me as well and cheated on me, and I didn't care as long as he came home to me. So one night at a party, someone offered me a wine cooler and I took it. And the feelings went away, and I was social. And because I've always been somebody that's very quiet and subdued, and I think no one likes me. I always think nobody likes me, because I was told as a child every single day that I should have been aborted, that nobody wanted me, and I believed it for a long time. I don't believe it today, but I believed that for a very, very long time. So when I got that taste of alcohol, when it made me come out of my shell, I thought, this is it. I'm gonna find, this is how I'm gonna make friends. This is how I'm gonna be social. This is gonna make, my boyfriend at the time love me more. And in reality, there was never any fun times with using or drinking. It was never fun, because I made a fool out of myself all the time. Every weekend, I would work all week. I was still in high school, so I had to graduate, but I would work all week, and every weekend I didn't want to do anything unless there was alcohol involved. And so that's what we did. We drank. We drank when we went ice skating. We drank when we went to the movies. Well, I drank. I drank. Not everybody else drank, I drank. And I started blacking out like when I was 16. I have an allergy to anything that's mind altering. I truly do. My body rejects it, and I turn into a monster. I have so much hurt and pain inside of me that I decide I want to take it out on everybody. And it's really scary. And until I decided I didn't want to live that way anymore, and that there is a new way, and when I found a new way to live, I didn't realize all the people I was hurting. So I married my high school boyfriend. Everything looked okay from the outside in. We had a beautiful wedding. My oldest child is 19, and he was the ring bearer in our wedding. It was picture perfect. Everything was beautiful. What wasn't beautiful was my husband disappearing from the wedding and finding him with one of my bridesmaids that night. So, and this just goes on and on. It's stuff that you can't even make up, to be honest. But that's okay, because I've forgiven him. I stayed with him from the time I was 16 until I was 32, and I never touched a drug. I continued to drink on the weekends, and not even every weekend, because I had my 19-year-old, so I had periods that I didn't drink at all, years I didn't drink. And then I had my daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter now, and I had her. My husband's and I relationship was getting extremely volatile, so it was time to start doing a little bit more numbing myself in order to stay with him. And I knew something else was going on other than drinking, because everybody was hiding out in my garage. When we found out I was pregnant with my son, we bought a condo, and in Columbus off of Polaris, we bought a condo, and it was beautiful, but everybody hung out in the garage, not on the deck, not in the beautiful great room. They hung out in the garage, except for me. Well, because they were all out there using, and I wasn't drinking, which is, I was fine with drinking, but they knew I didn't approve of anything else. Well, but I'm insecure, and I don't like myself, and why is everybody out there and I'm in here? So maybe if I do that, maybe then they'll accept me, because it always goes back to nobody likes me, and I want to be accepted. So that would be the first time that I used a substance other than alcohol. And that was it for me. When I got a taste and it was ecstasy, it was over. My husband and I, our best friend, Trent, who is now dead, because of the lifestyle, he was the closest person to me in the world. My life fell apart when he died in 2004. That's putting it lightly, because of the lifestyle and the decisions that my ex-husband now and Trent made. Trent decided, rather than go to prison, he was going to get on his motorcycle and basically run it into a car, and that's what I truly believe he did. I don't believe that it was an accident. And when that happened, life became too unmanageable, and I did not want to feel anything. And so I went to the doctor because I couldn't sleep, and the doctor then prescribed me Xanax. And it's okay because the doctor gave it to me. So I was off to the races at that point. When Trent was the glue that kept me and my husband Dave together. And when Trent was gone, there was nothing left to hold us together. There was no one to protect me from the beatings. There was no one to keep the police away. He wasn't there. So we ended up, it got extremely volatile. He ended up in jail after a very bad morning of an attack and the police having to break in to get to me with my children there. And the judge, after him being hauled off to jail because there was a gun involved, that we were put on a 5-year no contact order. So we were left no choice but to get divorced, which was one of the best things that happened to me because we had broke up many times, so we'd always get back together because I didn't think I was good enough for anybody else. And I really thought this man loved me because love is pain, because that's what I thought growing up, because I still genuinely think that a mother loves their child because I know how much I love my children. So if my mother loves me, it must be painful because that's what I feel. So when I feel the love, which is pain from my ex-husband, that's normal, right? No, it's not right. Come to find out, I know now that love isn't painful. So when I was 32, which was in 2008, when he was removed from the home and we were going through the divorce, several months later I went out and to a bar and met a knight in shining armor that was going to come save the day and whisk me off to Florida and treat me the way I was supposed to be treated. This man was in the music industry, which intrigued me. He was different. He wasn't like everybody else in Columbus. And so I said, okay, I'll go with you for a couple weeks. Well, a couple weeks turned into 7 years. From 2008 until 2015, I don't know how I spent it. I don't remember a whole lot of those years. I married another monster. He was he was a wolf in sheep's clothing, to say the least. So my using picked up. I was using cocaine just all the time, and alcohol. I mean, it was constant. At that point, it became almost a daily thing, just to want to be able to deal with my then husband, because I married this monster as soon as I was divorced from my first husband, because I don't want to be alone, because I'm not good enough and I don't love myself, so I don't want to be left alone because I need people around me, but they're not the right people. So it was very confusing because I felt like I was stuck. And I'm down in Florida and I don't know anybody, and I was scary, so I just used. I used day in, I used day out. All the while, this whole time I am managing, to stay steady in my career. I don't know how I did it. However, this down in Florida, it started to be affected because of the bruising, and I was put on a leave of absence. And when that happened, the using picked up more. In 2010, life really took a drastic change, because turns out when my husband and I divorced, my first husband and I divorced, which was Valentine's Day of 2014. I'm sorry, no, it was Valentine's Day of 2009 was when our divorce was final. I had to pay child support because I was down in Florida. Well, I never received the divorce papers because I'm down in Florida running, just running from everything, because I'm embarrassed, because I'm in pain, and really, to be honest, because I really don't think I had anybody left at that point, because my best friend was gone and I felt alone. Well, that's when the extraditions from Florida to Ohio started, because I wasn't paying the child support that I owed. So I was extradited. I was awakened one morning. I have never gotten in trouble before with the law. And I was awakened one morning by the Lee County Sheriff arresting me. I spent 3 months in holding down in Florida, waiting to be extradited back to Ohio, to Delaware County. I didn't learn the first time this happened. I ran back to Florida. It had to happen to me 3 more times. I was then locked up. I ended up doing more time than was on the shelf for me because I couldn't listen to the judge. And I'll never forget what the judge said to me. He said, "I don't understand why a college-educated woman won't listen to simple instructions." And he said, "I believe that there may be a substance issue going on here." I'm like, why would he think that? Well, he would think that because there was one. But I wasn't going to admit to that at that time. So I was on probation, but I broke it. I mean, I would hide out. When I did decide to stay in Columbus and didn't run back to Florida, I would hide out from my probation officer. It was like a game of hide and seek for me. It was all a game. Somewhere, it's like I snapped throughout the years and I was sick of being walked all over, and I decided that I was gonna play games with people. I mean, it ended me back up in jail, but to be honest, jail wasn't that bad because I wasn't being hit anymore, so I was okay with it. 2015, the last time I was extradited, and when they realized I had done all my time on the shelf, I, of course, ran back to Florida. I picked up right back at the job. I work in the dental field. I've been doing it since 2004. Before that, I worked for Ohio Health as an accountant. And my passion is my career. I love my career. And I managed to start right back up at the office I left at when I was extradited. And not only did my career pick back up, but my using picked back up. So in February 2015, after waking up to my phone ringing on a Sunday morning, it was my boss. And she asked me where I was. And I said, "I'm laying in bed, it's Sunday." And she said, "No, it's not, it's Monday." That was scary, to say the least, because I lost a day. Actually, I lost several days because I don't remember any of that weekend. I don't know how I got home. I have vague recollections of the whole weekend. So that would be my first. My boss told me I needed to get help. She knew I was having a substance problem. And so I went to treatment down in Florida. But you see, I'm smart. And I know that now because I'm secure with myself now. I know I'm smart. And I treat men really well, is what I was told. So I told them what they wanted to hear, and I was in there for 28 days. And I got out, and I said, I got this. Famous last words. And I was drinking again a week later. I decided to come back to Ohio and try to get clean because it wasn't going to happen in Florida because there was nothing in Florida for me except a lot of pain and misery. My children are here, and I've been in and out of my children's lives for years. Once these substances came into the picture, there was nothing more important than getting one more in me because it numbed all that pain that I felt since I was a child. So when I came back to Columbus, I ended up back in treatment, and I was in treatment the whole summer of 2015, in and out, in and out. I met the love of my life in treatment and ended up getting pregnant. I have a 2-year-old, beautiful little boy, and he's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But it was a lesson to be learned that you don't meet the love of your life in treatment or a psych ward or anything like that. The insanity that I thought was normal. My life has been so insane, and I thought it was okay. I don't think it's okay today, but I finally am starting to understand why, from the outside looking in, people for the past 10 years of my life, it's scary, the things that I've gone through and the things that I have put myself through because of my using. I choose to only blame myself for my using. I've chosen at this point to live as a survivor and not a victim anymore because living like a victim is going to keep me sick. It's taken me a long time to realize that. All my good friends in Columbus, they view me as a victim. And it's hard because I can manipulate them because I'm an addict and I'm a manipulator. And it's something I have to work on every day because I am smart and I am very capable of getting people to do what I want them to. And if it's in my best interest, because that's all that matters is my best interest. So I got pregnant in 2015 with my son Brady, who is going to be 3 in October. I started back working in the dental field and was immediately right back. My career was right back to where I wanted it, and got the cars back, had a beautiful home, got everything back, had the baby. But then my significant other, my baby's father, started using, and I was going and getting him, buying it for him because he was in pain and I wanted him to be out of pain. So then I started using, and it really doesn't matter it doesn't matter what happened at that point. It ended up with me trying to get my child back from him with substances under my nose, and I'm the one that called the police. I got children's services involved. And that was in 2017. I chose to go back to treatment once again after being in every psych ward in Columbus. Because when I used again, my disease continues to get worse even though I'm not using. So when I pick up again, it gets more insane than I would have ever imagined. I turn into just a complete different person. I don't really remember a whole lot of what happened a whole month of August and September of 2017. I ended up here in Dayton at a treatment facility, a long-term treatment facility, because that's what I needed. Moving to Dayton, coming to Dayton for recovery has saved my life. And I never would have thought I'd love living in Dayton, but this town has saved my life. The recovery community here has saved my life. It took me several times. It took me 2 times in treatment because I wanted to keep doing things my way. However, after meeting another love of my life in Woodhaven, in the treatment facility in Dayton, and going back to Columbus with him, I used again, and that was in May of 2018, which led him to being put in jail immediately. The next day he was in jail. And so I had a couple options. I could go back to treatment, or I could continue using. So I said, I'm gonna go on a run. And I called 2 girls I was in treatment with, and I ended up in a car for 3 weeks using substances I never had before. I ended up boosting. I ended up being to my first trap house. And I ended up ODing 3 times in that 3 weeks on a substance I had never used before. And on June 4th of 2018, I ended up dead. It's very unfortunate that it took me to die to realize that I want to live. My voice is like this today because of being on life support and because of the tubes down my throat. But it's a daily reminder of what will happen to me the next time I use. So I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the community of Dayton because once I did wake up from that detox facility in Columbus, the hospital, then I went to the detox facility in Columbus. My sponsor told me to come back to Dayton and get to work, not to go back to treatment because I had been hiding out in treatment for a long time. So I did what she told me. I surrendered. I truly surrendered, and I realized I didn't know how to live. And I gave up. I came back to Dayton with the clothes on my back. I had nothing else. I went to sober living. I didn't have a penny to my name. And I was fine. I humbled myself immensely because I've always been the person that can just get right back to my career and get everything back really quick. So I listened to suggestions from the people in the rooms of NA, and I did nothing but go to IOP for the first 90 days and go to 3 to 4 meetings a day. I lived a life of recovery the first 90 days to build a foundation and worked with my sponsor and was able to get phone numbers from women and start using those phone numbers, and it has saved my life. I did, of course, meet another man who is now my husband, who is also in recovery, that I met in the rooms. He works for a treatment facility. The treatment facility that I went to, and he heard what a monster I was in there, and he still loves me. He loves me unconditionally. And not only does he love me, but a lot of people in Dayton love me. But most importantly, I love myself today. You know, it's been a rough year. I've been clean for a little over a year now. It's been a rough year. We lost a baby in January. I was almost 5 months pregnant, and I had to go through labor and deliver my dead baby, our dead little boy, and choose whether to cremate him or bury him. And I didn't pick up. I've done a lot. The only thing I've done right the past year is not use. And that's okay, because I haven't picked up. Because as long as I don't use, life can get better. Life is good today. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I can appreciate life today. And I'm very grateful to have another opportunity at life. The rooms of NA have saved my life, and for that I will be forever grateful. The message is, an addict, any addict, can lose his desire to use and find a new way to live. Thank you. I'm Erica. I'm an addict.